Jazz, where are we?
Can you see me?
Hi Yoshi, what's crack? How you keep?
How are we? Not too bad. Let me mess about with this now. We're obviously live, but it'll take a while for people to come on and shit. You can hear me all right, yeah?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
So, go in a second. Just fiddling around with this. Just haven't used it for a while, but yeah. I think it's better. Like, you've got the tree, but then you've got the
That's
tree.
good there, yeah.
This is better, isn't it?
That's good there, yeah.
I think it is. Okay, so we're live, obviously. So, yeah, I'll go for it anyway. So, guys, thanks for coming on. Anyway, you obviously watched the game. Finished Luxembourg 0, the Republic of Ireland 3 in the end. 0-0 for a long, long time in this game. Goals from Duffy on 67, Bennett 75, and Robinson on 88. Ultimately, Ireland finished third in the group in the end, ahead of Luxembourg in goal difference. One defeat and 10 now for Kenny after it was one win and 13 competitive games. You know what I mean? So there's been a big turn there in terms of change and progression on that. The match, we'll talk about the match first tonight. And overall, yeah, it was a good open game of football for both teams. I thought Ireland were the better team in the first half in general, apart from the fact that Bazuna made an absolutely brilliant save from a deflection. Second half, actually, I thought Luxembourg were the better side for much of it. But that changed when he brought Jason Knight on, took Ida off and changed the system a little bit, got more bodies in midfield. It made a huge difference. And obviously, Knight set up 2 of the goals as well. But I suppose we'll start off with you, Daz, and your overall thoughts first of all.
Yeah, look, obviously, starting off with the game against, Luxembourg, going into it, you'd be expecting a win, which I was. We all were. I was expecting a 2-0 win anyway. Like we had said, I was expecting a win, but we got the win in the end. Starting off, like you said, we were the better team, I thought as well. We were the better team all around. But it was not like we created loads of opportunities at the start either. I think we had 3 shots on target going in at half time, which is not that great either. Obviously, firstly, that save from Bazuna really kept us in it. I think that changed the game for us. If that had went in, you'd be going in with your head kind of down, thinking, oh, no, here we go again. But that picked us up a little bit. He was very sure and calm in goals. He looks like a seasoned pro. He looks like a goalkeeper that's been playing the last 5 years at a high level. He's doing really, really good. I thought Shane Duffy was impressive in the backs again. He was commanding, he was leading, he was clearing lots of balls. That was good. McLean, he was putting in a good few crosses as well. He was getting up and down. Bit out of position at times, but I think he overall did well. I think Bennett had a really, really good game again, and I was so happy to see him start. And I think he's done himself the world of good. And another goal again, brilliant. Going into the second half, then obviously, like you said, Knight completely changed the game. I think his energy and just how it gets up and down the pitch was just really good, and it's what we needed in the second half, and it definitely made a difference. And when he came on, the 2 other goals came about and they happened, and obviously he put the balls in, and he made things happen, and he's definitely put himself in competition now for the games going forward. He's a very good player as well. But I'm delighted with the result. It was obviously 3-0 win, but like you said though too, it's not like it was all us though. Luxembourg were in it for times as well, and they did make some opportunities and some chances, but obviously we did enough to get the win, and we won it pretty comfortably at the end with 3 good goals. It could have been a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, what did you think of it, Oisin? Disagree with any of that? What's your thoughts in general?
Yeah, no, that's a kind of fair assessment there. Yeah, really, it's good.
We'll end the thing. That's it. Full. You agree with that?
Yeah, that's a great time. Really, really happy with it. Here's an actual fact for you. I just seen it online there. It's the first. Well, in 2021, they scored 19 goals, and that's more than what they had across the last 3 years. One more than they scored in 27 games across 2018, 2019, and 2020. So they've had 19 goals this year, and they've broke their own record over the past 3 years, which is good. There's signs of improvement are there. But yeah, it's a good victory. I'm glad they got the victory. I'm a fan of the orange kit. I don't think many people are.
No.
Ireland have to be either green or white.
Oh no! Here's Philip. Philip's just joined us. We just Oisin dropped the bombshell to say that he's a fan of the orange kit.
Oh, Jesus! You might be saying that too loud, Ush.
That's probably because they won 3-0.
Boys, like,
I'll tell you that.
90.
Orders
Well,
went across
still have to start watching
it. But yeah, no, good performance. I'm fairly happy with it, and you know, I just hope now that you know the board will do the right thing and keep him on, because there's even more for room for improvement there, like, and you know, it's great to see, you know, former League Ireland man getting on the score sheet, you know, with Ogbeni. So yeah, I'm all happy now.
Yeah, interestingly, just on a side note as well, Serbia scored late to beat Portugal 2-1 to go through as group winners as well. And I'll be honest, I think Serbia were the best team in the group overall. When they came to Dublin, as an example, I thought they looked a better side than Portugal did over the games we played Portugal in. Do you know what I mean?
I think Serbia have always been a good team, though. They've always had good players, and they've always played well, and always put it up against bigger teams, though, as well. And obviously, we got results in them in the past as well. Some very memorable games we played against them, but they've always been a good team, I think, as well, though. And have always had some good individual players as well.
Yeah, huge win for Serbia, to be fair. But just on that as well, but obviously with Kenny, then, as I said, it's 1 defeat in 10. It was 1 win in 13 this competitive games. Philip, I mean, there's clear progression there. I mean, I'm not getting up in tables and dancing saying we're going to qualify for next Euros necessarily or win the Euros. But, I mean, if you think there's no progression there, then you're daft, aren't you?
Yeah, look, Keith, I think I'm just looking there at Kenny at the highlights, kind of seeing him celebrating. You see how much it means to him. Like, I can tell you now, I'm just throwing it back to, I think it was the 3rd or 4th game we had in charge, and obviously the result against Serbia in the first game was one of a lot of optimism. Obviously, we didn't get the result we wanted, but it was one that was to lead us to expectations that we could go on to better things in the group. Look, that didn't happen, but there definitely was a change halfway through, you know, and I think they spoke about that on RTE this evening. There definitely was a change, and look, Liam Brady, if anyone can question Stephen Kenny, I think they made a good point on the Independent there. I read an article. If anyone can question Stephen Kenny, it's Liam Brady. He has more than enough credentials to do that. But I just think there's a bit of a good feel about the whole country at the minute. Just coming off there tonight now, I think now obviously there's quite contrasting opinions in terms of should he stay or should he go. But I think we've kind of won over.
Let's throw that out there, Philip, actually. Let's explore that, right? If he should go, just say, what's the argument that he should go, in your opinion?
Well, for me, there isn't an argument because we finished 3rd in the group. I know we only got 8 points. And I'm sorry, I'm looking there at it now.
9
we
points.
got 8 or 9 points or something. But anyways, and look, that's pretty bad return. But I think there's... Regardless of who you put in charge, you could have put Zinedine Zidane in charge of Ireland. We would not have got out of that group. It's as simple as that. Like, we just don't have the players. And look, that's not an excuse. Like, we are a good competitive country and we've got competitive players. But just at this current stage, I've heard Richie Sadlier mention it a couple of times that we've did I just say Richie Sadler? I think I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I mentioned him saying that it's a bit of a phase that we're going through, you know. And look, Keith, people can turn around and say, "Oh, look, we were crap, like we were useless." And don't get me wrong, there were points that we were, and those points where we weren't very entertaining. But,
look at this gobshite, lads. Look in the comments. Look, can you see it?
Lee Desmond, get up now, Machino. Get up now.
Ain't nobody like Lee Desmond. Makes me happy.
I'm telling you. But no, I think to be fair, like, you know, there's plenty of points there that can be made on the positive side. On the negative side of it, you know, I see people clutching at straws, to be honest with you. It's obviously a big year next year. You know, we've all sung Kenny's praises, all of us, that is. That we always chat amongst ourselves, and we all know that we've all sung Kenny's praises. But when it comes down to it, Keith, it's a results business. And has he performed up to date on results? No. But again, that's a big but. We are seeing progress from where we were with Martin O'Neill. I'm just thinking back to those bleak times, that game in Denmark where we didn't even have I think we didn't even have a shot in the whole game.
Oh, there was games against Northern Ireland
So, like,
and Georgia where we were just pathetic as well. You know, some of those games against Georgia and Northern Ireland.
I suppose though, looking at
and then you see that tonight.
Keep to the question now, saying
Sorry, go on, yeah.
About Stephen Kenny, like maybe should he be in or out? If you look at how many wins we've had out of the last 10 games, that's a worrying statistic if you're looking at from that perspective, because it is a results-based business, like you said, Philip. And if there was any other club manager, he'd probably be out of a job. Now, I'm thankful that he's been given the chance to oversee this and to see the transition period that we spoke about months ago that we're going through. And Liam Brady.
But isn't that the point, as to be fair? Like, I actually get that point of view, but isn't the point as well that it is a transitional phase and it is a rebuilding, and that was kind of the remit she was essentially given, wasn't it? Let's be honest about it.
Well, 100%, yeah. It's a transitional period. Like, if he was to come in now and do a few, obviously a barren results like we've had, but if he was to have another qualifying campaign and then another manager comes in, suddenly the likes of Amabama Dele, the likes of Jason Knight, the likes of Troy Part, hopefully Bazunu will be more experienced, playing at a high level and be all around with better players, and a manager coming in will have a better core group of players that Stephen Kenny didn't have. And let's be real too. Looking back at Stephen Kenny's, we've done 1 to 11 shows, Keith, and there's been 13, 14, 15 players out. Like, how do you pick a team for that? One of the 1 to 11s that we picked a team based on players. That with the players that were left, that's all that were left that we could pick from. So he's had an awful lot of kind of commotions going on through his tenure of his Ireland career. But I really think though, going forward, if the contract is renewed, which I hope it is, I think now it's time to start getting results. And I think he really has to start getting results now going forward. One thing I said there a few months ago is I think Stephen Kenny needs to kind of mix it up a little bit and go a bit longer, which we've seen against Portugal, which we saw tonight. And I thought it worked much, much better when he did that, when he mixed up a small bit more. I just think we looked a lot more solid and there was more attacks made, especially for the pace of Ogbene now. It was exploited. We got into the backs. When teams pushed up, we sent the ball through out to the wing. We ran at them, and I thought that worked really well. I think since he's made that change, we've had so much better.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, Oisin, the reason why he's made that change as well is that he said himself that he hasn't had the luxury of having wingers with pace in most of his games. And obviously we've seen Robinson come in as an example. He's not an out-and-out winger, but he's got pace and he can get in behind stuff. And like Ben and players that come in, you'd argue that that's down the street now as well. So he's been robbed of that a little bit. So it's hard to play the style Daz is talking about as well without those type of players, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, like it's there is an excuse. There is excuses there for Kenny. Like he hasn't had the full squad, across the windows that he had, but now he's kind of finally getting a full crack at it, and a fair crack at it. Of course, have your Kenny out people that are saying that doesn't matter. He should be able to work with the players that are there, but simply the players, they're not the best, and there's no two ways about this. There's a few bright sparks there. And as Kenny works with them, as the months go on, the gang will gel together, and the results will come, I think. But considering only one competitive win in 14, it isn't good enough. There's no two ways about it. Like, I mean, you can't be saying, it is good enough. I think the results will come now. The football's better. People are willing to give them a go, and I think it's a turning time in Irish football, and I think it's changing for the better.
Yeah, definitely.
Keith, can I just take up there? Sorry, regardless of what happens to Stephen Kenny, I think we can all agree that Stephen Kenny's bloodline, if you wish, will be in the Irish team for the next 10, 15 years. If you were to sack Kenny now and bring in, say, the likes of Mick McCarthy, just for example, he hasn't got anyone from his old brigade, if you want to put it, to bring back in. They're just the lads that he had, that he would have used, maybe the experienced lads. I mean, like the likes of your Stephen Wards, your Glenn Whelans, they're all gone now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. All those lads are gone. The likes of Cullen, you know what I mean? Ogbene, obviously all gone well at club level. This has to be as well. But you'd imagine after seeing the way these lads can play, that they would kick on now on club level. You know what I mean? They're doing it internationally, and some of them aren't even doing it at club level because they're not getting the chance. But again, time and again, we're seeing these young lads stepping up. Gavin Bazunu, what a save there, Stephen. one of the best saves I've ever seen from a goalkeeper.
Brilliant.
Just
The fact it took a
world
deflection.
class.
I didn't realise, first of all, that it took a deflection.
It took a weird swerve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A real save. Like,
It was just creeping
let's
back
talk
in.
about him for a minute, actually. He's been a
Yeah.
serious success story.
I'm gonna put it
And-
out there, right? If
Yeah.
Ederson made that save, it would be going all around the world right now. That's
Yeah.
how good it was.
Yeah.
But it was absolutely top class. It kept us in the game, and as I said, it raised the heads. And I think Ireland started to play from that moment. Actually, got more stuck in. But what I said was to get his feet ready for that shot, to get behind it and push it past the post. It was absolutely brilliant. And
It was great to see.
we'd obviously know about Zuni from his League of Ireland days. You know, his Cork City save that time with the penalty was one of those kind of saves. You're just thinking, God, this kid's going to go on and do really great things. And
yeah, I've seen good goalkeepers, young goalkeepers in the League of Ireland. I see a few now, but I thought Bazunu, when I seen him, I thought this guy's at another level. And he's gone on to prove that now, to be honest with you. He's outstanding, 19. All the games he's played so far, I think he's absolutely brilliant. And to be fair to Kenny, I'll go back to Philip there for a second. If Mick McCarthy was in charge, Gavin Bazunu wouldn't have got a chance.
No,
you know what I mean?
definitely not.
Point.
I even think the likes of
yeah,
Randolph. Do you know what I mean? Like, what a servant he was for Ireland. Fantastic goalkeeper for us. Like, even he wasn't playing at club level for the likes of West Ham and Middlesbrough. He was playing a bit of Middlesbrough, but when he moved to West Ham, he was second choice to Fabianski. And anytime we needed to call on him, he was there. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like it was merited that we needed to bring Bazunu in. It wasn't. But and on my point of this philosophy that Stephen's gone about, you know, we needed Gavin for that, because at the end of the day, everyone thinks, oh, it's your goalkeeper, but Kenny is starting from the back. Your goalkeeper needs to be able to play football, and I think he's, like, I know this sounds, I think he's in the top 10 in the world of football, of goalkeepers that can play at their feet, in my opinion. And, like, do you know what I mean? He's playing in what? He's playing League One this year, I think it is.
League One,
League One. Now, and I just, off the top of my head, I can't name more than 10 keepers. I wouldn't say I'd be able to name 10 goalkeepers that would be as good as Gavin with his feet, like, because he's been instilled that at the Roadstone Academy from a young age, and you can just see how natural it is to him, you know. But look, Keith, we can talk all night about each individual and how I think it's just the thing that we need to recognise is how good it is to watch an Ireland team playing free-flowing football. Do you know what I mean? And that's something. And I think there's a lot of lads saying in the comments about politics and stuff within the FAI. That's probably something for another day, you know, because look, we all know what's happened in the past, and I actually didn't think about that once tonight, about the whole situation with the FAI and Delaney. I haven't thought about it for a few weeks, actually, to be honest with you. And it's just because I'm looking forward to football anytime Ireland are playing, you know, and I think that's the same for most of us. Do you know what I mean? We all recognise. Yeah,
I agree with that. Like, Oisin, a couple of years ago there, again, like, you know, Kenny's made mistakes, etc. But I'll come back to this. Like, a couple of years ago, Ireland had a game under McCarthy, the end of O'Neill and all. You were kind of thinking, oh, we've another game, do we? But to be honest with you, like, you're kind of looking forward to the games now, because you know, even if they're beaten, let's say, at least they're going to be trying something different. They're going to try and play football as much as they can play football against certain teams and that. And as Daz said earlier, the style has changed again, which is nice to see as well, that Kenny's willing to do that. But as I said, the wingers coming in makes a difference there as well. But like that's a good thing as well. And I think the point a lot of people were missing that we're saying Kenny out, in my opinion, was, you know, even if Kenny goes on and proves, okay, you know what, he's not good enough to take us here or here or here, he's laying a foundation. He's laying a very important seed to what we can do later on. I mean, if we get 9 points in the European Championship group qualifier, you're saying, nah, that's not good enough. You know what I mean? I'm not saying we have to qualify, but we can't be getting 9 points. So it's a foundation that's been set that's crucial, isn't it, Oisin? A lot of people fail to see that or don't want to see that, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, and I think, as you were saying, you know, a few years ago, you were just kind of, you know, you were inclined to just give it a miss, you know, and not bother going to the matches. I think the appetite is back now with this new style of football. I think people are, you know, loving. Yeah, I see it too.
I'll just put that up there. Look,
it just popped up. But yeah, no, I think the appetite is back. But which is good. Like, you know, I think the whole country is kind of going to get a boost. You know, this new football now is coming along, and I think the whole country is going to a boost, and that the people are willing to give him a chance, which is good. Of course, there will be people who won't give him the chance, when they're stuck in their ways and so on. And that's just up to the individual. But there's a foundation set there now, and it's all about getting the mortar now and the bricks, getting it all sorted and building it up. And God knows what could happen in the next qualifying phase if Kenny is given the chance. If they go and replace him, with someone like Chris Hughton, I say you have to start up again, maybe, or maybe start halfway, whatever. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But the foundation definitely there.
Yeah, I think it would be a disappointment if they actually did decide not to go with him and go with someone else now at this stage, wouldn't it? To be fair.
Yeah, it would be like obviously we're not going to qualify now. Obviously, it's all over now. It wouldn't really make sense to go change him. Like, really, when you see the progress that has been made to a degree, like, but I definitely
it started as well as they finished. If you flipped it over, maybe you'd look at it a bit more. But it's on the other side.
The fact that he's brought in new players has changed the system, and as I said, changed the system again to try and make it work a bit more. A great draw against Portugal, who had 5 players that won that championship. I think it's 5 or 6 players that night won that championship, whereas we had 5 or 6 players that didn't even play against a full house in the Aviva. So that just shows the gulf and difference of the teams. But definitely going forward, I think if they were to change the manager now, I just think you'd go back to square one. Like, you'd be trying to set up a system of play, you'd be trying to sort out how we go about things, and I just think the players are really buy in Stephen Kenny. They always speak highly of him. How they're performing on the pitch, they're really trying. Their desire is there. You can see that's there, and that they want to do well, and they're definitely trying to play how Stephen Kenny wants to play. So that's all really positive. But as I said, I still think Stephen Kenny needs to start getting wins in competitive games going forward. Like, at the end of the day, it's results-based business. We need to start getting wins. I'm not saying even to qualify next tournament. I obviously want to. Stephen Kenny has actually come out and said that he wants to win the Nations League. So hopefully the draw is kind enough to us, and we do something in it. But we definitely need to start getting wins, I think, going forward now.
That's it as well, Philip. So Philip, go first. Is Philip gone? Is he frozen?
He's frozen.
Sorry, lads. I have to apologise. I was actually listening to Stephen Kenny there. What was the question?
No, you're grand. Did he say anything of interest, by the way, while you're...
He's just chatting there now. He said that he did recognise, and it was the first thing he did acknowledge, was that Ireland were actually quite open when it came to going to attack the game. He said he didn't come there for a draw. He said a draw was nothing to them. But he was just talking there about how he was a bit uncomfortable with being so open and giving Luxembourg so many chances. But he said that he had to kind of accept that because he wanted to win the game. So, look, I suppose everything positive there that he's saying was good to see that he acknowledged that there was that bit of a, you know what I mean, there was a couple of chances. That was good to see him acknowledge that. But look, Keith, I think that it would be silly to not keep him on, in my opinion.
What's the alternative?
That's it. Like, there is no other alternative. The FAI has no money. Do you know what I mean?
That's the thing too. Yeah.
So, there's no money in the FAI. Who's gonna want to come in? There is no alternative.
Philip, this could be a blessing in disguise for the FAI. To be honest with you,
yeah,
because as you say, they have no money. Obviously, Kenny's getting a wage, but he's not getting a massive wage like some of the other managers did. To leave him there and progress and try and progress the country in terms of the way we play and a future platform, and as I said, maybe in a couple of seasons or whatever, a couple of years, someone else comes in who can take it on further. Maybe if Kenny can't do that, but. They'd be crazy now to not give them the Nations League and the Euros. I'd be shocked now if they didn't. I think they will. But
see, the thing is, Keith, you look at it, right? And I was thinking about this the other day. This is the first time in my lifetime, I'd imagine, since the FAI's existence, that there is a style of football from the very bottom of underage young Irish teams right through and being played in the first team. Yeah. Now, I can't think of a time that has happened before. Look, probably McCarthy, first era. You probably could argue that, but again, I was too young to know that. I was
He
on the young
inherited a
side
lot of
there.
very good players, so at the time as well.
Exactly,
Like,
and
the
Good
that's
squad,
the thing.
yeah.
Like I thought about that. I said, imagine. I actually thought about that. When I was just, I don't know what I was doing. I was just chilling out the other day, and I was just thinking about it. I says, imagine he had the likes of Duff, Keane, Robbie Keane. Do you know what I mean? Like it would just be like it would be scary. To be honest with you, I think Kenny would get so much.
Edie,
Like,
Wes Houlihan.
yeah, like you know what I mean. Like this lad,
Yeah,
this man
especially
has
Wes. He
brought.
would have got the most out of Wes, I think.
This lad has this manager has nearly brought a part, well, not at the time, but lads playing part-time football into the verge of qualifying out of a Europa League group stage. Do you know what I mean? And they were playing part-time football 4 years before that. I'm talking about Dundalk, obviously, when he was at Dundalk.
He's beating the likes of Bate Borisov 3-0, for God's sake.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and
Not right to do that.
that, like, and I know, like, you can turn around then and say, well, he hasn't got the players now. He didn't have the players then, being realistic, like to go against the likes of Bat Borisov, as you said, who spend millions every year. Do you know what I mean? And like, it just goes to show Borisov's probably their weekly wage at the time was worth more than what the whole of Dundalk squad. Like, do you know what I mean? It just goes to show that it's not all about money.
Definitely, actually, not probably.
Yeah, it's not all about money. Do you know what I mean? And I think a bit of time like we've seen now and a good campaign. It wasn't a fantastic campaign, obviously, for us. Like, we didn't qualify.
Good ending to the campaign, we'll say. Like,
good ending, yeah, nice ending. Like, you know, I think I think we'd all be lying if we said we weren't concerned for Stephen's position at the time halfway through. I'd say, especially after that Azerbaijan result at home. No, it wasn't. It was Luxembourg at home. Sorry. Yeah. And I thought, I'll be honest with you, I didn't think he was going to get to the end. No. There was a lot of pressure then. I was happy that he got through that. I thought if he got through that, he'll definitely get to the end of the campaign, which obviously we know he did now. And I just think it's gotten stronger. And I think there was one thing as well that stood out, Keith, was Shane Duffy came out during the week and said that they want to play for him, you know, and like it's not like he was the captain calling on the lads. Like, do you know what I mean? It was.
I think as well, Philip. Any player can come out and say that, but you see it on the pitch. It's quite clear, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Like you know,
clearly following his ideas, like.
Yeah, you know, and I think, like, looking at that squad tonight, one of the goals actually came from when I think it was Doherty lost the ball. And usually when you see an Irish player lose the ball, they try to get back, but they don't have the legs to or whatever. But Doherty broke his bloody arse to get back. Like, and I mean, eventually did get the ball back with one possession up the higher up the pitch, and we ended up scoring from it. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's little things like that just show that the players are playing from, you know. Like, we've all seen it before where managers just don't seem to have lads playing for them. You know what I mean? And lads put down the tills, and
once that happens, it's over for any manager, I think.
Yeah,
like that's the way it is. But like I personally coming away from this now, Keith, I'm very excited. It's the first time in a long time. It's the first time ever, actually, for me personally. I've come away from an Ireland campaign saying, cannot wait. Obviously, the Euros, that was different when we got into the Euros last time around, obviously. But like I'm coming away from it saying, do you know something? I actually fancy our chances, and in the next campaign, I really do. I don't see why we can't get through. Look, there's obviously more openings with positions being opened up to teams, so there's more opportunity to qualify with the third place qualifiers and all. And I'm not sure if that's going to be in the Euros this time around, but like they are trying to open it up for more teams to get there. So like you'd have to fancy our chances, like, do you know what I mean? And to be honest with you, I think we can all agree that, like, besides the opponent tonight, Portugal as well during the week, we wouldn't have done that with a McCarthy side. We wouldn't have done that with a Martin O'Neill side. We would have been blown off the pitch. So I mean, one of the best players in history of football. And let's be honest, lads, Seamus Coleman pretty much had him in his pocket, as did Duffy. Do you know what I mean? And I think that picture doing the rounds on social media there the other night just summed it up perfectly, because we literally had him by the scruff of the neck. He couldn't do that. And he had one chance, I think, towards the end with that header. I can't think of much else after that he had. But like, again, I think personally, Keith, I could ramble on all night, but I won't. I'd say I think Irish football has something on the boil. It's coming to a boil. and something big is going to happen, and we're going to get to a tournament, and we're actually going to be quite competitive doing it. So I'm very, very optimistic, and obviously I'd imagine the lads are as well, to see what the next campaign holds. But for me, absolutely, we need to stick with Stephen Kenny.
Yeah, Oisin, it was great actually to see Shane Duffy back playing, obviously for Brighton first of all, but seems to be rejuvenated a little bit playing for Ireland now, isn't it?
Yeah, and that move to Celtic didn't work out for him. It was a bit of a shame because obviously Celtic, there was a big following in Celtic here in the area, Celtic. It was just a bit of a disappointment. Obviously, his dad passed away too, and it was a rough out year for him, and it never really worked out. And he got fierce abuse off the Celtic fans, and even other fans of Scotland. It just wasn't called for. But yeah, he seems to. Since he came back to Brighton, he's obviously playing in the Brighton team at a good start to the season, a couple of goals, and now he's kind of flying. It's great to see. Another goal tonight. I seen the comment there coming up. Negative. Their first goal tonight was a Duffy header. But when you think about Ireland's goals, they have Anthony Barry in there now, and he's a Chelsea coach, and he's the set pieces, and I think he seems to be involved a lot with Kenny. Not just with the set pieces, but it's great to see Ireland score from a set piece because obviously Anthony Barry's brought in there to do that job, and seems to be working, which is another positive, I think. But yeah, no, it's good to see Duffy back playing. For I think our only goal in 2020 was a Duffy header. Glad to know now that we can score from out in the pitch, as well. But yeah, no, it's good to see him back, and I'm sure they continue to push on.
That's a good point, though, about Anthony Barry, to be fair, isn't it? Because the three at the back system, obviously, he works with Tuchel at Chelsea, and it works really well for them. So he will see a lot of things. I know they're different players, but at the same time, see a lot of things at the Chelsea training ground, be working on that. And clearly he's brought an influence there as well, which is great to see. And that's what you want. You need people around the manager to have a good influence as well.
Definitely, and the fact that he's working at Chelsea at the highest level, he's going to be at an elite level every single day, 7 days a week. So he's definitely going to have some ideas. Like George Stephen Kenny and say, well, what if we try A, B, or C, or D, or E? And it's probably stuff that Stephen Kenny mightn't have thought of, or even thought of exploring, and might have thought, mightn't work. And they'll go out and try it and make something happen. And especially it's been well documented in the past that COVID has disrupted camps. You haven't had so many turnover of games. You haven't had a chance to get together and actually train as a team. And obviously, as you said, Anthony Barry's coming in, and we're starting to play the style that Chelsea do play. We've got a few key players that can play that way. Like obviously, Shane Duffy will be like for like some of the Chelsea defenders, tall, strong, Bazunu, good to feet, attacking fast fullbacks. So he's trying to bring that style in that he knows inside out into the Ireland team and try and develop it that way, which I think is working out very well. Just in relation to Tom's comment there, I don't really think it's a negative breaking the deadlock. That piece. I think it's
frozen.
Gone, I think.
Can you hear me?
No, you're there, but Philip wasn't.
Yeah, Philip's gone. Philip's gone a while now. But just related to Tom's comment about it being a negative, I don't think it is. I think it's a positive score from a set piece. Not many think it's not like a score from a set piece every single game. It has to be well worked, and you have to put a proper ball in, and someone has to stick at the back of the net at the end of the day. And we did that tonight. And that broke the deadlock, but so be it. You can score any type of a goal is a good goal. It's the most important thing to do. Score one and keep out the other, and that's what we did tonight. And I'm very happy about it, and it's brilliant. And Ireland's well known to be dangerous in set pieces. I think we always have been. even going back before my time,
there's no criticism with being dangerous in set pieces.
Definitely not. No, it's a good thing. Like I was saying, there's some teams where they never really trouble you with a set piece. Whereas with Ireland, I think teams look at us and like, oh no, they've got a set piece. And that's kind of when they start to panic a little bit because they know we're dangerous for them, and we scored so many good goals and memorable goals in the past from set pieces.
Yeah, for me, it doesn't matter how you break a deadlock in the game. As long as you break the deadlock. Oisin will know all about that, being a Finn Harps fan as well, so you agree with that. We've been good for set pieces and strong and things like that.
Was that off your Irish happy days?
I couldn't do a hoot. Yeah, I mean, if Pat's to go off, Daz, but if it hits off Lee Desmond's arse and goes in and Pat's I'm going to give two shots.
Go back to that comment on the screen there, Kevin Rourke, with Bazunu. I know they have Zach Steffen there. He's the US goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Now I know the US are I think they're 13th in the world or something like that there.
Yeah.
But he does have a good. He's a good chance. I think he would
Here's one
deserve
notion though: is he better off being number 2 at City or number 1 somewhere else?
Number
As
one
he is
for
now.
us. 100%.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'll
It's
put
probably
it this way, Oisin and Keith.
with Kelleher.
If you look at Kelleher right now, no one's talking
Yeah.
about him. He's not getting game time at Liverpool. And some people are saying, "Oh, he's brilliant, star." No, Gary. And some people will be saying, "But Kelleher, like, oh, he's brilliant. He's this and that." But he's getting a handful of games, if even for Liverpool every season.
Are you drinking water?
What good is that? Like, Bazoona's getting out. He's playing at a men's level. He's performing. He's playing with players that are fighting in League One. He's not like Kelleher sitting with abundance of talent on the bench, just never going to play. And when he does play, nothing's going to come his way because the defense is so good ahead of him. Really, like, so going out, getting experience, playing games. I think this is the best way to go. And
Yeah, that's
hopefully,
probably fair enough.
if
Yeah.
Portugal were to get promoted, it'd be great if he stuck with them and try a championship out with them. But either way, I think the next move for Bazunu could be, a lower championship team now next season going forward, if he keeps this level of progression going forward.
Yeah,
Oh, definitely.
Exactly. Oisin was saying, like, the fact is he's playing well with Ireland, so even if he was playing poorly with Portsmouth, it's kind of irrelevant if he's playing well with Ireland. You know what I mean? You see players like that as well. I'm not saying he's not playing well with Portsmouth, he actually is, but you do see some players that perform. Richard Dunn, I'll give you an example, was a world-class international defender, but at club level, he was decent. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You could argue a lot of the time Shane Duffy, maybe not quite that level of Dunn, but in general, Shane Duffy raises his game for the Republic of Ireland than he does for the club he plays for, Brighton, as an example in this case. And that often happens as well. That with Ireland, I think that's what you're always looking for, by the way. A lot of the time is that players can raise the game for the country. And make us a better unit. So that's something that we are hopefully looking at in the next couple of years. But back to the defence, like you've Oma Bamadeli there coming through who can play as well. He's got a bit of pace. He's a modern defender. But Darragh O'Shea's another one as well who can play, and he's a bit of a modern defender. We've got good options going forward defensively in the future that even if we're missing one or two through injury, that we've got players to come in. Like Doherty's been fantastic, I think, the last couple of games. I really think Doherty's stepped it up big time.
Even at that, there's a few younger players that's actually starting to play at championship level that we're not even talking about. The likes of Kilkenny's one, Ebosele off Derby's getting. He scored the other week. Big enough for Cruzy. I can't remember who he plays for again. Cardiff, I think it is.
Cardiff.
These guys are getting in and they're playing at championship level and they're defenders and they're very young. Like, so we've got talent coming through, and like I think the future is going to be bright for Ireland. I think we're going to get places now in the next 2-3 years. I think we're going to be a team going forward, and I think hopefully them days of qualifying for tournaments is going to come back, and I think hopefully the style is going to have changed from we're sitting back, we're defending, we're hitting on the break step, we're going at teams, we're going to make, if they score 3, we're going to score 4. I think that's where we're going to go going forward.
I think you're right. We want to qualify for tournaments, but we want to be able to do it without having to go back to that old style with dinosaur type managers, dinosaur type football. We want to progress as a nation, and like Kenny might prove to be, he deserves another chance, in my opinion. But you might look at after yours and say, okay, do you know what? He's done well. He's laid a foundation, but now we need a step up and bring in someone else. And if that happens, that happens. But we can't go back, is what I'm saying. If we do replace Kenny with someone in the future, it has to be someone who follows a similar template. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have to keep that template going throughout the under 14s, 15s, 16s, 17s, 18s, whatever it is, under 21s, and keep that going and just try and progress as a nation. Even the likes of Luxembourg, by the way, have put in a brilliant plan at underage as well. They've tried to follow the Iceland template, which has worked very well. So my point is smaller countries are doing this as well. So we should definitely be doing it. Like, even if you look at Luxembourg tonight and over the games, for example, they don't get everyone back and sit back and get everyone behind the ball and park the bus on the edge of their area. Do you know what I'm saying? So why should even a team like Ireland, who in general would have better players than Portugal, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, lads, found it.
Thought you died for a minute.
But the power to go down the pallet, Philip, is it?
You wouldn't be so lucky. You wouldn't be so lucky.
But we've had a few teams, actually, how we say, lesser quality teams to us that, have, like you said, Keith, have been technical and have kept it on the ground and have played it on the ground and have actually played attacking football. Like, I think, who else? We've had a few other teams, like Qatar actually did try and play as well.
Even Azerbaijan, they try and play as much as they can,
as much as they could, like to
Yeah.
the degree the players that they had, like. So it's great we're starting to finally go that direction, and we've got a young team and young and upcoming players, so hopefully they keep their progression going forward. I think that's key as well. But I suppose one player I want to speak about now for a minute is Adam Ida. Like, where does he go? Does he stay at Norwich and get a few minutes? Does he look in January to get a loan move and get a few game time? And I think he should be looking to get game time, because we've seen the likes of Knight play with Derby, and now he's playing well with Ireland. We've seen Bazunu go out and get game time. Now he's playing with Ireland, playing very, very well. O'Shea, when he was playing with the Ireland team, is playing in West Brom when he was, fit and playing. Oma Bamidele has started to get game time with Norwich. So Paris obviously have gone out and get game time. I think players need to start getting game time now. The likes of Malumbi isn't getting game time, shall we say, other players like that. So I think he needs to look at a loan move and start getting game time. But something Keith said to me the other day was, if Pookie was to go out with a long-term injury, suddenly I just pushed up the list a little bit, which he is, but you have to look at that. If he goes out, he might be in the team. I think he needs to go out and start getting game time and stop playing.
It's a delicate situation for Ida, because most games he comes on as a substitute.
Yeah.
So you kind of look at you know what I mean? So you're looking at it from his point of view. What do I do? Do I stay in the Premier League with Norwich coming on as a substitute, or do I go to a championship club and get in? But it's a difficult one for Moshin, isn't it?
Yeah, well, like I follow Norwich, a wee bit. So
sorry about that.
I know a bit about the club and that, but obviously Daniel Farke's gone now from the club, and obviously he was there for the past 3 or 4 seasons, and obviously when Norwich got relegated, you were thinking, he'll get a great chance in the championship, but he just didn't. He was still on the bench. He was coming off the bench. He wasn't starting too many matches. It just seemed to be that Farke wasn't the problem with him. Now you have Dean Smith coming in at Norwich. It could be an opportunity for him, to prove himself. As they say, when a new manager comes in, it's a fresh page. You have a chance to prove yourself. I mean,
does Dean Smith, did he sometimes play 2 up front of Villa? Am I right there?
I'm not sure. No, I think it was Watkins through the middle. I think he Grealish right to left.
Has Watkins not played since Ings has gone in, for example?
Ings is there too, but I think Ings got injured recently.
Left, no.
Does he? Maybe, yeah. That's what I'm trying to figure out here. Yeah, just trying to figure it out in terms of Ida Norwich possibly play with Pookie.
Well, Farke played 3 up front, and it was the 2 wingers and the middle, and Pookie was always that man in the middle. So you wouldn't know now with Dean Smith coming in. It could be a good thing for Ida to actually get an opportunity, and there could be 2 up front possibly. But yeah, no, you do kind of feel bad for him. I felt bad for him coming off tonight. Like, he's still waiting on that first international goal.
He wasn't bad tonight, really. It was just one of those
bad,
things that I think he came off really systematically at that point as well. Because
it turns out it was a good sub anyway. With
I think Kenny felt we were getting a bit. Dodgy defensively and or coming through the middle, and he brought Knight on. Obviously, Knight made a difference there. He also made a big difference going forward. And I'm actually a massive fan, Philip. I don't know about you, Jason Knight. I think for a player's age, he's so intelligent. I think he's going to get better and better, and he could go on. I think if you were to tell me which one Irish player was going to play for, say, eventually a top 6 club in the Premier League, Knight would be the favourite for me. I think at the moment.
Yeah, he's a smashing young player. Smashing player.
Bazunu is that one, I'll argue. That's how I'll get out of that one. Probably more difficult for a goalkeeper, Daz, actually, in many ways. Because 6 clubs,
like,
6, with a midfielder, it's a bit easier.
Especially at the top 6, you're going to go out and you're going to buy a player to play in goals rather than take a risk on someone. It's different if it's a striker or a midfielder who can come on and try and do something completely different. So I believe we got Bazunu out of that for that reason. But obviously go back to Philip like you want to him. But Knight would be my 1-2 all day long. What do you think of anyway, Philip? I think it's a smashing player.
I agree with you, lads. Look, he's a smashing player. We can all of us have seen him of some sort. You know what I mean? Whether it be with Ireland or at club level, there's definitely a.
It's frozen, is he?
Yeah, he's gone again.
It's frozen for that. But Daz, you'll take up that point actually with Jason Knight, to be fair. He doesn't know he's frozen.
He's a grade above the rest in terms of quality. That pass that he can deliver, he just seems to be, on the ball. He seems to be that split second ahead, knows exactly where the pass is, and I think he's going to go on to big things. I think he's done nothing but improve. Obviously, a couple of injuries here and there, but overall,
Yeah.
I think he's been
Sweet,
really, really
really.
good for us. And like, look, we've seen the impact he had there this evening. There's no reason why he won't continue that. So no, look, I agree with you. I think he's probably one of the few players that we have that would probably go into a top 6 club and perform and do really, really well. But
not now,
yeah,
but
no,
you know the potential is
fully
there
optimistic
for me
and fully think he will get on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, I think the thing is as well, though, does he stay at Derby till the end of the season, do you think? Because they have financial trouble. And
Yeah, they're going to get relegated by looks of things. Like,
you know what I mean? He'd obviously leave to get relegated, but is there a chance he leaves in January, I wonder? And if so, where do you think he should go? Does he go to a Premier League club now, or maybe another Championship club just to give him a bit more, let's get him playing every week? Or what do you think there?
I think if he's going to go somewhere, he should go to a Championship club where he's going to guarantee to play every week, like he is at Derby.
Yeah.
If that opportunity doesn't come, I think he should probably stay at Derby and play every week in the Championship and go at the end of the season. Because
if they're relegated, go there.
Relegated. The best players will always go, and that's the way it always is. And he's so young, he will definitely go. And I know for a fact that there's teams looking at Knight that want Knight right now. And who's to say they haven't offered Derby money for him already? And Derby just said no, they're holding out, knowing they'll get bigger money for him, maybe even in January. But like I do think if he goes and ends up not playing, he's going to hamper his development that's going so well. And once you start getting into a team at Championship level, you need to stay in the team. You need to keep playing, and he's doing that at Derby. He's getting game time, and why would you move and start to not play like we've seen?
I think the only question, Daz, is will you have to move maybe because what do you call it? Derby with the financial problems, they may be forced to sell.
Yeah,
that's what I'm checking.
Yeah, that's the thing. Derby could be forced into selling, like him. But if they do, I think for his own sake, he needs to go to a team where he's definitely going to play. Because there's no point sitting on the bench when you were playing at the same level and doing so well. Like, it's going to hamper your development. I think he should go somewhere that he's definitely going to play. Even mid-table team, I think Preston would really suit him, just how they play, and obviously the Irish contingency that they have there. I think that would really suit them. Just they're all action, they press high, and they just play that kind of football that would suit him. And you know, players around him might do really well as well.
Irish player, hang on a second. Irish player that's too good for League of Ireland, not good enough for the Premier League, goes to Preston.
He just took the words out of your mouth.
That was only O'Connor and who else? Boyle that went that time. Remember that?
Yeah, he makes a good point there. Shane, go on, Philip.
I think there's a good point that we need to talk about, lads. Yeah. And I've seen someone mention it on social media there the other day. If Jack Byrne goes back to Shamrock Rovers, is he in contention of getting back in to the Irish senior setup? That is, what's your thoughts on that?
Throw that to Oisin. You go first, and then we'll throw it to Daz.
Probably depends how he gets on. Obviously with Tyrell, it took a wee while to get him back into it. So it depends, really. I think he deserves a chance, really. You know, it's great. It's great to see the League Ireland players, you know, getting a shot at international level. So yeah, no, if he can, you know, show the same form he showed before he headed off to Nicosia, yeah, definitely could see him getting a chance. Considering, you know, Kenny's obviously pro League Ireland, so yeah, no, he's in with a better shout than he would have had with the likes of your Trapattoni's and your, you know, Martin O'Neill's, whatever. So.
Funny enough, Daz, I think we had a discussion about this the other day, but I'll just take up Oisin's points there a little bit as well. Yeah, I think the thing is, I don't think Kenny will pick a player just because he's in the League of Ireland, though. I don't think he's like that. But I think the likes of Trapattoni, I know what you're saying, likes of Trapattoni and Neil and all, but in general, they've better squads, so probably less of a chance of getting in as well. But Daz, what do you think of that one with Jack Byrne?
I think, firstly, I don't think Jack Byrne's going to come back here. I think he's going to look to try and go somewhere else because I do think he's better than the League of Ireland. I think he should try and look to go somewhere else, get into that team wherever he goes and try and play wherever he does go. Scotland might be an option for him. Lower Championship might be an option for him. Obviously,
he's been to Scotland. The only thing, he's been to Scotland before, and it's just whatever way. It hasn't worked out for him, though.
That was years ago, though. Like, I think now, you know, he'd be developed enough. But anyway, going to the point that if he was to go back to Shamrock Rovers and say he is playing well again and he's scoring goals again and setting up goals again, we know he can make set pieces. We know he's really good at passing. We know he can split defence with a pass. We know he's got excellent vision. And I think, you know, obviously me and Key had this discussion, and one thing that we both agreed on was he's maybe not your 90-minute player for Ireland, but he's going to be that player that might come on for 40 minutes, 30 minutes and split a defence with a pass that he can see, or take a set piece, or put a ball through that someone can get onto the end of it. And I think with the way Ireland has changed their style of playing now, I think it would really suit him, and I'd love to see him in that team. I definitely think if he was to come back to Shamrock Rovers and play well, he'd definitely be in the Ireland squad for me anyway. I 100% would be. I think his vision is brilliant. I think he's an all-round good player, and he's someone that I would definitely have. As I said, maybe not your 90-minute player, but definitely.
What goes against him, Daz, a little bit is athleticism. I think that's the biggest issue with him, is athleticism. He could come on as a sub with 20 minutes ago, 25 minutes ago, and the game is stretched. And he has got that ability on the ball that actually some of the players don't have, like Hendrick, for example. But Hendrick can get around the pitch well and all that kind of stuff.
The likes of your Knight, your Cullen, your Hendrick, they all get around the pitch and cover all areas of a having an engine. Jack Byrne, to me, doesn't really have that, like you said.
And of course, he has to get back and play well. But if he did, hypothetically, if he played as well as he did when he was at Shamrock Rovers before, I personally would have him in the squad for sure. And I think Kenny would as well.
Definitely, Philip, why would you leave him out? He can put that pass through. Tonight now when we were 2-0 up, say, that would have been, why not bring him on then? And keep going attacking and going at teams and have someone who's going to come on and have a spark in them and put a ball forward. Because we've got players that can come on and defend. It's good to have a player to come on that can split a defense too with a pass. Something different, something they can bring to the team. Or I think as well, if we're playing with, say, Cullen, Knight and Hendrick in midfield, I don't think they'll see a pass forward as much as Jack Byrne might. That's on at a split second time. I think he has that, but then something that then three players have is an engine getting on pitch that Jack Byrne doesn't have. So managing that situation obviously comes into play as well.
Yeah, definitely. Oisin, if you were to give Kenny a rating out of 10 for the whole campaign, just the campaign, not the Nations League and not the friendlies really, but the campaign overall, what would you give him? Qualifying campaign,
I'll give him a 7. Yeah, give him a 7. I'll say before yeah, 6 or 7. It's just, I think going into the campaign, you were kind of aiming, for second, and
where are we aiming for second?
I think I think obviously, when you looked at it on paper, you'd be thinking, in with a shout with Serbia, but obviously that didn't come to fruition. Philip doesn't seem to agree with me at all. He's gone again there.
The power's just down on Tala. That's all.
But no, it's just the way. I think I'll give him I'll go with a 6 actually. Just the more you made me think about it there. I think obviously it is a time that we're changing. The whole philosophy behind the football, but I think there's always it's just matter just keep the ticker going now. I'll give him a 6. Considering we recovered from from where we were, a few matches ago, we were second and last or whatever in the group, but I think it's a few disappointing results, a few draws that could have been wins, and it's all down to a wee bit of luck as well. I'll give him a 6.
Daz, what did you expect from the group though at the very beginning? Where did you expect Ireland to finish, for example?
Where we are now, third.
But with more points, maybe.
More points and probably more wins. The likes of Azerbaijan for me should have been nailed on wins. I don't care. They should have been. The likes of Luxembourg both should have been nailed on wins. Suddenly looking at 3, 6, 9, 12 points that we, in my opinion, should have had with the squad of players that we have. So from that way, it's poor. I'd give Stephen Kenny's campaign 5 out of 10, and that's me being realistic. I love Kenny as a manager. I think he's brilliant. What he's done before, and even brilliant. But looking at it on paper, stats, wins, it's poor. It's poor. Obviously there was progression. I'm not denying that whatsoever. Like I've said earlier in the show, I'm not nowhere near denying it. But looking at it on wins, points, draws, poor. 5 out of 10. It's just poor. But we finished where I thought we finished, which would be third. We weren't going to win it. I think we'd be overachieving to finish second. I think third as well. Realistically should have been aiming to finish, which is done. So I think for me, I wouldn't say it's a job done, but expectations for me probably reached. But I think we probably should have had a few more wins behind them.
Yeah, Philip, how do you think? Would you have expected Ireland to push second?
No. I actually thought, people can laugh at me, I thought this was probably how it was going to run. I didn't think it'd run. I thought we would pick up a couple of more points, obviously, but I did think that this would be where we were at. I think just in terms of the change that we're going through, the quality of squad that we have, this is where we're at. And I think, obviously, we've mentioned it. I won't go over it again, but we could pick up points in other places. And, you know, there's games where you're disappointed looking back on. But as I said earlier on, Keith, I've come away from this camp, or this qualifying campaign, saying I'm very optimistic. Whereas the last campaign, it was quite a lot of questions rather than answers. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of those questions have been answered throughout this campaign. How we're going to play football, who's going to be our next generation of players coming through. I think we've got that now, the likes of Bazunu, Ogabama Dialey. You've got Ogbene as well coming through. Cullen as well has stepped up and really cemented his place in the squad. And that was quite a concern, I think. I think it was something that probably went under the radar a bit, you know. I think
those players have to be blooded though in this campaign. There's no two ways about it.
The way it is, yeah. But to answer your question, Keith, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, I think we're sitting at a 4. The reason why I've gone less than the lads is just I was really disappointed with the Luxembourg at home, especially coming off such a positive performance. Obviously not result, but a really good performance. And then to go and see that happen, like, you know. But again, 4 is because I am confident for going forward. Obviously, where we are now, we wouldn't touch anyone in a group stage of a major competition. But I would say, as you said, we've blooded these lads in now. Another year or two experience in this qualifying, building up towards the next competition. I would fancy our chances to do well in the summertime, obviously. So, yeah, no, 4 out of 10. But again, Keith, really optimistic. And I keep saying that because it's something I haven't felt for a long time.
Yeah, it depends how you see it. I don't know what rating I give him, really, to be honest. But the way I kind of see it overall, basically, is the fact that I knew he needed to blood players. And my attitude was I'd be willing to put up with a few dodgy results to do that. You know what I mean? Rather than play, maybe not blood these players and maybe get an extra 4 or 5 points and not qualify anyway. I think that would have been a waste. So
give us a rating there, will you?
You're waiting for rating. I think a 5 overall. But I'm more optimistic because of the way if it had gone the other way and you started well and it deteriorated over time, you have a different attitude. But the fact that it's like they've learned from that Luxembourg game, for example, at home, I think the management team themselves, you know what I mean? And you've seen it tonight in many ways, they learned there. But they learned in general from that. And the blood in the players has been absolutely vital for Ireland to do. I don't think not many managers would have done it either, to be honest with you. I think Kenny deserves a lot of kudos for that because he almost didn't care if he lost his job, if you know what I mean. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to blood the players for what I think in his mind was a betterment for Irish football going forward, regardless of the results. Could they got some better results? Absolutely, they could have got better results. That's why I'm only giving it maybe a 5. But I do think it'd be absolutely shambolic to actually, you know, bring in another manager at this point. Shane,
I think some people fail like to realise that, you know, the squad of players, you know, even just think of tonight, you know, the players that were, on the pitch. Obama Deli, he's 19. Jason Knight's 20. Well, you have Benny there, who's, you know, played for a few.
Darrell O'Shea. I know he's not available now, but he's still
24. Jimmy McGrath, even, you know, like they're not even in their prime yet. You know, that's the thing. You know,
Adam Ida, Troy Parrish.
Go on, like, you know, on the way Kenny's brought these players, and I think it's really good. You know, it's really commendable, as you were saying, and especially, you know, given how inexperienced these players are at their clubs. You know, most of them aren't even getting the game. You know, but I think it's just. It's a different ball game, obviously, with club football and international football, and I think the club's managers should be looking at the, you know, international stage more, and, you know, and giving them players, you know, a go, because I know.
I think as well, Oisin, to be honest as well, I think as well, that no matter what manager we had in coming into this campaign, we wouldn't have been close to qualifying anyway. We might have got an extra, we might have got an extra 4 or 5 points, which, you know what I mean, but it wouldn't have been good enough ultimately. So could you imagine another manager came in and just played I know Hendricks played some games, but played that old style, kept going with that old system and the way of playing, not blooding any youngsters and that kind of thing. It would have been a waste of a campaign, and where would that have left us? Like, you know, it would have completely left us dead in the water. And by the way, the rebuilding job would have been a lot harder then, because it would have been come to a point where you have to rebuild out of necessity. And could you imagine none of these players got experience? Like, you know what I mean? So I think that would have absolutely killed us. So I think, like overall, I think results haven't been the best. I would have preferred better, but the other facets and other sides of it, I think it was a good campaign. If you see where I'm getting at, it's very difficult to look at it that way. But you get people who would have personally felt that if we Chris Houghton, for example, we would have qualified, which is just ridiculous.
Well, like there's, like I don't know, it's just,
I've seen it. You know, he gets sacked as Manchester United Forest. He gets sacked as Manchester United Forest. Yeah, get him in, and he's going to qualify us. Like, you know, we wouldn't have qualified regardless of the fucking system we played anyway. So in that case, I think, and if Kenny comes in for the Euros, let's say, and we only get 8 or 9 points again, and it's a similar, then I think he has to go. So I'm not like completely lording Kenny. I'm just saying that. As I've explained before, how I see it in that way, and he has to be able to progress it on. And if he doesn't do that in the next campaign, his legacy will be at least laying a foundation.
Yeah, I trust the process. Like, I mean, the players they have in the squad now is something they haven't had in a long time. You know, you've had that dead wood in the side, you know, for the past 10 years or so. Your Stephen Wards, you know, and even Glenn Whelan. I think now is the time now. Like, you know, give Kenny time, and you know we'll be back in you know, the bigger tournaments, you know, soon. You know, I think you should just back your country, because I mean, obviously the fans, I think the fans that go to the Ireland matches now are backing Kenny, and I think the people that don't want to back him can stay at the house, whatever, keep a blind eye, whatever. But I think people just, you know, I think the people are, you know, getting on the people are, you know, supporting them, which is good to see, I think.
That's a fair point. Look, lads, thanks a million for coming on. That was brilliant stuff. Guys watching, thanks very much for watching. Subscribe if you're new, hit your bell notification button, and like the video. And yeah, thanks, guys. Brilliant stuff.
Cheers, lads.
In broadcast. We ended the broadcast.